Gang, gang, gooly, gooly, gooly. Gang, goo, gang, gang, goo. Gang, gang, gooly, 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 gotcha. Gang, gang, goo, gang, gang, goo. I don't know the words to this song. And I lost my bottle opener. There it is. I don't even know why I have a bottle opener upstairs in my upstairs office, but I do. I have my little dancing man bottle opener. Do-do. Ging gang gooly 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 gotcha. Ging gang goo. Fuck a duck. Well, it's Sunday at something o'clock in the evening, the afternoon. 5-ish, 6-ish, something around that. 5 or 6 o'clock. I've got to talk into the microphone. I've played these back and then I realised that when I go over here, my mic is really quiet and you can't hear me, and I'm like really faint, and then I get closer and it gets really louder. I went out a minute ago and had a meal and a beer on my own, like some fucking sad sack in a restaurant. Well, it was like a cafe down the road where I live. There's like a pub thing, and I've been working so hard all week, and I'm like, oh gosh, I've worked very hard this week. And I just really wanted a beer and a meal, but I still had some work to do. So I thought, I'll go down there. And I went up to the bar and I went, hello, meal for one, please. Like a little sad man. And then I went and sat down with my undead notepad to make notes. And I had a Kindle. Oh, it was really sad. There's this author that I love. He wrote this book years ago that I just adore. It's an amazing book, and I love this author. And then years later, when I read this, God, it's like 20, 30 years ago when I read this really good book. I don't want to say the name of it, because I read it, and it was such a good book, and I loved it, and I always fell in love with it. It's very cyberpunky. And then years later, we actually exchanged a couple of messages when I became a popular writer. I was like, what the fuck? Boo! Mind blown. And then I started reading his other stuff, and I was like, gonna shrink down, because they weren't very good. What do they say about never meeting your heroes? So that was a bit fucked up, really. So I took his new book with me down to the place where I had a really shit meal, and I started reading that, and it was just terrible. Oh, it was so bad. I wanted to like it, and I thought, don't be a judgy prick, don't be a twat, and think that, you can be a picky writer. Writers are fucking terrible, we really are. We read books and we're like, this isn't very good, this dialogue's not very good. We get picky as shit. And I thought, don't be like that, just sit back and enjoy it. And I had a beer, I had a pint of Abbott's ale, and it was meant to be like a Sunday roast. God, it was awful. The meat was cold, the potatoes were soggy, but I didn't have to cook, I haven't got to wash up, so that saved me time. And this week, anything that saves me time this week is a good thing. So we did that, and I read the book, and the dialogue was awful, and it was all, and then there was so much telling instead of showing, like constant dips into backstory. I'm like, fucking how to kill a chapter, your opening chapter. Those constant dips into backstory. Richard was sitting by the window. Richard remembered all of his life beforehand that he's going to bore the fucking reader with now for fucking 10 pages, going waffle ass. That means nothing. It means nothing. You can get anything that's in that backstory. You can get that characterization over with just a few lines of current dialogue with the person that they're talking to, or the people, or the situation they're in, because you can just reflect their character that way. You don't need backstory. I don't know why people do it. And he's such a good writer. He did, I want to say who it is, but I can't, so I just slapped him off. And that would be really cuntish, so I'm not going to. But yeah, shut up, Richard. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't say his name. But I've been putting out lots of videos this week. I can't even remember what videos we've put out this week. I did have a list, but I think it's downstairs. What did we do this week? So we've been putting out lots of writing fiction, how to be a good fiction writer tips, Done loads of those this week. Pre-recorded a bunch, but I didn't set the microphone up properly. So the sound quality was shit. So I had to redo some. And putting them out. And we're learning the processes, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook Reels and YouTube. And I was kind of not putting them all out on Twitter, because my experience with Twitter at the moment is just a cesspit of hate. It's just, oh my God. It's just where the angry people live, isn't it, Twitter? Facebook used to be where the angry people lived, and now it's Twitter. Lots and lots of... And all this stuff about Gaza and Palestine, that's terrible. Really, really bad. And the whole Ukraine and Russia thing. And the misinformation on Twitter. Whoa, that's like... takes propaganda to a whole new level. That's frightening. There's things with tens, like posts with tens of thousands of views and thousands of comments that come across like the quantifiable, verified news sources, and they're just bollocks. You go, that's dangerous. That's really dangerous, and it's escalating this whole conflict in a way that it shouldn't be escalated. And it's dragging all these other players into the Middle East, and the media are just being cunts because they're picking at it like they just want to escalate it and keep it feeding it until it's becoming this self-perpetuating kind of doomsday scenario. Whoa, it's terrible. And all these governments are coming out going, we're pro-Israel or we're pro-Palestine. And all the people in the populations of those countries are going, the fuck, no, we're not. We're not fucking pro anything. Just stop killing each other. But it's not a podcast, so let's not talk about that. So yes, I've been doing loads of those fiction writer clip things. Did loads of those, and I can't for the life of me now remember one of them that I've put out this week. It's just gone in a blur. I've had my stairs done. Let me show you. I have a picture. I have to boot up my laptop. I want to show you what my stairs look like. Oh God. Hang on a minute. I'm going to be that annoying person that's looking down instead of looking up. So what I was going to do was show you a picture of my stairs being done, but in actual fact what we've done is that this is when I've got a picture of my rats for some reason. Can you see? This is a picture I took of the rats when they were on my garden fence, because they're little rat tails and they're little rat bums, and now they're all dead because the poison killed them, and I feel terrible about it. Don't even talk about it. I feel so bad. Right, okay, so this is kind of how I was living for a very long time. It's an old Victorian house. It was 2 flats. I lived downstairs for years, bought upstairs during COVID, and I've been slowly renovating it. So I kind of lived like that for a very long time. It's fucking hard. God, it was brutal. And now I found the newel post from the original staircase. Had a newel post from 1850 or 1860, and it must have been in place until about 1960. So it was in place for about 100 years, and then when they converted it to 2 flats, they chopped the stairs up, and somebody had the foresight to put the original newel post, big decorative thing, up into the loft. 60 years later, I find it buried in a corner under loads of crap. I'm clearing all the loft out. This thing is just beautiful. I've cleaned it all up, and I've managed to get 2 really cool carpenter joiner guys in this week. It's taken me months and months and months to get them in, and they've been putting this staircase back together. Delhi, yay! They've been putting this staircase back together using some chunks of existing handrail, and they've had to machine some handrail up and trying to attach it to this newel post, and the stairs kind of go up and then round on a landing and then up again. So it's very complicated and very difficult. But so this is the top. That picture that I just showed you, that really shitty one, that's that area now. Doesn't that look beautiful? So some of that handrail, that bit, the white bit, is original from 1850, 1860. The brown bit is the bit they've made. Perfect. And these spokey, spindly things are all new. And then, down the bottom of the stairs, we have, dun, 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 I'm so happy, the newel post. That's the newel post that was here. They've had to rebuild that bottom step. And And yes, so that newel post would have been in that position for about 100 years. And it blows my mind to think of all the generations of families and life that revolved around this beautiful static object that is almost the centerpiece of the house, the way the newel post is constructed. Because you come in the front door and it's right in front of you, and you can see into the lounge, and then it hooks off into the corridor hallway that goes round about. And it's beautiful. It's really beautiful. And the way did you see? It's all kind of the way it's constructed, round, circular bits and stuff, and it's got like the nipply bit on the top. And you just think how many generations of families and people have touched it and gripped it and held it, and all the coats and jackets that have been draped over it. And you think all the fashions, they're like 1850, 1860, but I say about 1860, maybe 1870. So all the coats and jackets back then, well, I don't think probably back then they were draping coats and jackets over newel posts, because they were a lot more proper, weren't they? And this was quite a proper house back then. But still, all the hounds that have touched it, all the children that have grown up around it, all the dogs that have run past it, cats that have climbed over it. Just think that the angst of living that it's seen, and the joy and the happiness and the laughter and the death and the births. You go, whoa, my little writer's mind just goes... And now it's back. And honestly, I did... when they cleaned up, and they'd gone, I had a really good clear up, and I was in the lounge, and I don't know, and it's stupid, it really is stupid, but then I write books for a living, so I think about things on a level that's much deeper than most people. But there was just a sudden sense of completeness about the house. It was as if the whole house kind of went, like it'd been backed together, like it just kind of went, oh, that's better, and everything's back how it should be. And it took a long time and a lot of effort, but it was worth doing. And they've got to come back on Monday because they still haven't finished yet. So that was also happening this week. And then there's lots of other issues going on, like there always is, because I'm building up a fiction land coming out, and my profile and sales have gone up another level, which is brilliant. It's fantastic, and it's wonderful. And that's what we're working towards. All the different things we're doing, all the different books coming out, all the different activities I'm doing on social medias to get writing tips out is all to build profile, to get more sales. And, oh, hello. I'm bashing the light around because Delhi almost got caught. So that's all working really, really well, but it just generates a ton of work. And do you know what's weird? This is fucking doing my head in. And I don't quite know how to deal with it. I don't know, especially on TikTok. I think TikTok geo-syncs to this area, the Isle of Wight. So I'm bumping into people I know who I haven't seen for a very long time as I'm out and about doing stuff, like you do. And they're saying, oh, I saw you on TikTok, or I saw you on YouTube. And I don't know what to fucking say. I'm just going to go, oh, okay, thanks. What do I do? It took me years to get used to people saying, oh, I read one of your books, or talk about books, or I really like your book. I'm like, thank you very much. But I just kind of go tongue-tied, and I don't know what to bloody say. And now people are saying it about kind of TikTok and YouTube stuff, and yeah, thanks very much. I don't fucking know what to say. Do we, Delhi? We don't know what to say. It's alright if Delhi's with me, because she's very pretty and lovely, and everyone pays her lots of attention. But yeah, I got caught out a few times today in different this week in places. So on top of that, I'm trying to get my website redeveloped, and it's problematic, and there's other problematic things and stuff going on with people that I'm paying to provide services and assistance and stuff, and they're not doing what they're meant to be doing, and yeah, and that's really difficult to manage and deal with, because I was in the police for 22 years, and in the police we're not employees, we're technically classed as servants of the Crown in the police. So for instance, employment law, a lot of employment law doesn't work with police officers. That's not the right phrase, but you know what I mean. What's the bloody word? I'm a writer, I should know this. Isn't relevant. Employment law isn't really relevant to a lot of police officers because we're servants of the Crown. So things that an employer might do to an employee that would get them in trouble doesn't work in the police. We have different rules and regulations, police regs, and that breeds a different way of dealing with things. it breeds a directness, because we're also a disciplined organisation. So it would be that an inspector or a sergeant turns around to ranks beneath him and say, go and do this, go and do that. And you go, okay, I'll go and do that. And even when you're reporting back to senior officers or officers that are above rank to you, you can generally be very direct to them and go, no, yes, get this done, this is what we need. And it is you often have, not so much maybe, I think they're struggling now with recruiting younger generations that are being very snowflakey, which is not a word I like, and I don't like that word, but it's the truth of the matter. There's a lot, they're struggling at the moment, the police, with recruiting the younger generation that have a gross sense of entitlement, and they're trying to talk directly to them, and these young people are going, you can't fucking talk to me like that. So that's difficult. But coming from that background and into this background, fluffy, beanbaggy, everyone talks about the feelings world of publishing and creative arts, and you can't talk like that because you just wind people up and everyone gets triggered and offended. And the amount of times I get, excuse me? Fucking what now? Fucking what? What did I just say? What did I just do? And I seem to spend half my life apologising for being direct. I'm never offensive. I'm never rude. I'm never like purposely insulting or anything. Never. I believe in politeness and being kind and being decent. Always be polite. But yeah, that's a struggle. and there's a big defence mechanism, isn't there, these days with people, that the second you confront poor service or poor standards or poor behaviour, that fucking, this makes me scared. Even saying this makes me scared. Makes me go, no, don't do it. Just shut up. Just talk about books. But the quickness of people to use mental health as a defence mechanism against anything that they either haven't done or haven't done well, whoa, my God, that's frightening. That is frightening. How do you manage that? The amount of times it's coming up with things like anxiety and depression and mental health and people with issues that are just drowning in it, and the second you go, hey dude, listen, I've paid you, this has to happen, and they're throwing that back at you, and whoa. And even in the sense where it's really, because I'm not their employer a lot of the time, this is freelance stuff or contract work, like self-employed things, but even then they just clam up and they not do anything, and they'll claim mental health, and you think, well, how do I manage that? What do I do? How do I do this? It's really difficult. And I think a lot of people have realised that seems to be a get out of trouble free card to do that straight away. And you think, well, maybe they do have genuine mental health problems, and that's a terrible thing, and I wish I could help them, but I've still got to get this work done. And it takes me a long time to write a book to earn the money to pay them for the thing that they're not doing. So then I've got the right to tell, hang on a minute, but your lack of service to the thing I've paid you for, wouldn't that in turn affect my mental health? But then all of a sudden you're in a fucking gaslighting situation where you just can't communicate your way out of it with some people. So yes, there's been lots of that this week. Lots and lots of that. And so yeah. So I did a video thing on Friday, but it wasn't very good. My mood was flat. So, and I played it back and I was like, no, don't put that out. You sound like a dick. So I didn't. And then yesterday, I can't even remember what I did yesterday, Saturday. Today's Sunday. And I've done a lot of work today. I've done a lot of things. Because everyone gets mental health, don't they? Everybody on the planet has mental health. That's without a doubt. And the 100 billion people have existed on this planet before us. Try and get your head around that. 100 billion people. That's a number just we can't even begin to fathom, really. It's so vast. That's how many people have lived on the planet before us. And every single one of them had the same fears and needs and thoughts and worries and concerns that we've all got now. It's no different just because we're living in houses, driving cars, talking into microphones, onto cameras, Doesn't make any difference. People 100 years ago, 200 years ago, all the generations of people that went around that newel post at the bottom of my stairs had the same fears and the same worries and the same anxieties and the same depressions. Things were different. There was different titles for things. I think bipolar, what we call bipolar now, used to be, wasn't that manic depression? And what's the other phrase? Melancholy, was that a thing for? Oh, I'm probably going to get this wrong. There's something like that. Anyway, there's lots of different phrases for different mental health things that we now recognise and we can title. So the mental health is a big thing, but I just, I believe in having purpose. I think that helps a lot. Having a goal, having standards, having ethics, and I just kind of use that as my moral compass. Really, don't cheat anybody. Don't lie to anybody. Don't hurt anybody. If I make a promise, I do the very best to fulfill it. And don't take things too seriously. But always have a purpose and always stay busy. And more around me, I'm seeing people that are struggling just with those basic concepts. They're stuck in ruts where they're not doing anything all day and they're getting chronic, massive depression. And then because they've got depression, they can't then motivate themselves to do anything. And we all get depression, we all get depressed, we all think like that. Of course I do as well. And there's been times in my past when I've struggled with anxiety. That was always my thing. But I've learned with the first sign that I start feeling depressed or down, I'm like, find something to do. And it's hard to do it, but you've just got to fucking do it. You just got to find something to do. Doesn't matter what. Clean, hoover, polish, go for a walk, something positive, something productive. Gardening, decorating, sanding, anything, repetitive action, just emotion, movement. That's massively helpful. I'm not a mental health expert. I'm just and this is the other thing as well, is you can't talk about things like this because the topics are so loaded and they're so and it's so quick to trigger people, and then everyone wants to attack everyone else. But this is just my experience of my life. This is why I like talking to this camera thing and explaining in this podcast. This is what happens in life, and we're all trying to navigate in it. And my experiences at the moment are, every time I turn around, I'm having to deal with someone else's mental health. And there's a lot of people that are saying, I've got this problem with my mental health and this problem with my mental health. And if I'm engaging them in conversations, going, okay, what are you doing to help yourself with that? And there's so many people that are just drawing a blank. There's nothing there. And there is so many things you can do. Anxiety, I used to get anxiety a lot. I don't have it so much now. I adjusted my lifestyle with things like I don't drink caffeine in the evening, for instance. I only have it in the morning. Diet, exercise. Exercise is massively helpful. But there you go. So I'm kind of struggling with managing those things a lot. And there's a big publisher that I've worked with in the past that I'm struggling with because I've probably lost about £300,000 over the years because of the insane practices within this big publisher that I used to work with. And all publishers are kind of chaotic in the way they do things, but this is on a whole new level. So that's hard also to manage and deal with. So there's a lot happening, a lot going on. But my new post is in, and that's very nice. And it's Sunday, and I'm having a beer. And if I drink this now, I know I'm going to start burping, so do forgive me. I did get a message talking about mental health, and it's just reminded me. I got this message in the week from somebody. I can't remember what platform it was on. It's one of the videos I put out, one of the instructional videos I put out about quick tips on fiction writing. And I think it was a young lady, and I think she said something like, where do I start my novel? I've got an idea for a plot. And then the sentence went on to say something like, but I've got to write a dissertation for a master's degree, and I've got 2 kids or 2 dogs and a full-time job. I am going to burp. Pardon me. It's just human though. It's like a human reaction. And it's very fizzy, that beer. Oh, it's going to come up again and burp again. Just a burper. It's terrible. Don't even look. Pardon me. Excuse me. And so she said, I want to do something. I have an idea. But. And I just went, oh, that's so interesting. Because I get that a lot. And I do. I get people coming to me going, I want to be a writer. I go, good, go write. But I've got this going on. I've got kids and I've got a job and I've got this and I've got all these chores. I can't find the time. Well, then don't find the time. Don't write. And it's a self-defeatist attitude to go into anything like that, particularly trying to write a book. If you're trying to go into it thinking, well, I don't have the time for it. Okay, well then, what is it? The question you're asking? What is it you want me to do? Generate more time and more hours in the day for you? Do you want me to give you some magic hints or tips? I can give you lots of hints and tips if you want that. The first hint and tip I give to you is to get rid of the self-defeating attitude of, I want to do it, but. Don't have the but. The road to success is littered with people who had all those buts and failed and gave up and didn't bother continuing. And they let all these other issues stop them. And you've got to find a way to adapt and overcome and just stop swearing, keep going and not give in. And you have to make sacrifices with anything that you want to do. If there's something you want to do, if you want to do it bad enough, you will utilize the 24 hours in a day that you get, that the 100 billion people before you on the face this planet and the 7 to 10 billion people on this planet now all get the same 24 hours a day, the same 7 days a week and months and blah, 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 and years. You will utilize that and maximize it to make it happen. So you going into it saying, I want to, but I can't because of these reasons. Well, then you've answered your own question and then don't do it. It's as simple as that. But then that's that directness that I spoke to you a minute ago about being the blues and being direct and being blunt, and that seems to trigger people because, again, there's been times when people have gone, excuse me? Go fucking, whoa, shit, okay. So now a lot of the time I don't reply. I don't open my Facebook messages for that reason. I just don't look, because a lot of them come through on those kind of DMs through social media. But the point stands, if you do want to write a book, you're going to have to make sacrifices. It's not something... I've seen some people that will try and crowdfund for the money in preparation for writing a book. What the fuck? Fucking what? If you ever see one of those, don't give them money. Don't give them fucking money. Don't. Everyone else that ever wrote a book, their first book, before they became a full-time writer, found a way to do it without going out and asking for money in preparation for fucking... And it's free. You don't really need anything. Nearly everybody has some form of writing ability in their house, be it a laptop, a computer or something, and access to Word or one of those free equivalents to it, to write the book. And even if it's bodged together, if it's good enough and you get it through to an agent, if it's good enough, they'll take it. And if it's not, and you can self-publish it, there's lots of free things that you can do to get the book up to standard and Grammarly and all those kind of different things that you can utilize and that will help you. Don't fucking ask for money online with some crowd. And if you see one, don't give them money. But if you want to write a book and you have got a busy life, then just find the time. That's all. There is no magic formula to it. You have to sacrifice. And I always say to people, do you watch TV? That's the first thing. It's the first thing I got rid of when I was working full-time as a police officer and I started writing properly. I looked and I thought, well, I don't need TV. TV doesn't really do anything for me, so I sacrifice watching TV. And then all of a sudden, when you become quite conscious of management of time, you'll be amazed at how much time you can save by being quite disciplined and quite structured, and it focuses you as well. And then obviously if you're working and you have other things to do like children and dogs and you still, exercise is vital, so don't drop exercise because that is vital for you. But when you're not writing, and this isn't the thing, and not just sitting down writing the book is one part of it, but a lot of the work, you can do a lot of the work in your head when you're not able to sit down and write. When I was in the police, I was constantly thinking about the next story, the next plot, the next structure, how I put these things together, so that when I got to the computer, my brain was geared in to go, right, now I'm here. I've got the idea. Let's go. Then I'd have to go back to work or do dogs and stuff. And a part of my mind's thinking back to that. So I'm planning ahead back to that. And it's just about maximising that. And it is hard, it is difficult. And lots of people say, I want to, but I can't. And that self-defeating attitude will cripple you. And it's not something to go into lightly. And you can have a go at it, and good luck if you succeed, but it might be some half-bodge thing that doesn't really pay dividends. But yes, so the very first thing to do is to be positive. And rather than saying, I want to, but I can't, maybe change it to something like, I want to, and I will. And I will make it work. I will find a way. Even if it's 1 page a day. If it's 250 words a day, if it's 500 words a day. Sometimes I'll sit down for 8 hours and only get 500 words down, and that's just what that day is. Other times, if it really flows absolutely blisteringly, I can get 8 to 10,000 words down. But even if you say, right, I'll just do 500 words a day, you'll be amazed. It takes chunks, and you'll get there. But yes, so that's that. So that's what this week has been about, really. Motivations, desires, wanting things, and then management of people who for some reason aren't able to deliver. But I feel bad because everyone's struggling with mental health. The cost of living crisis is crippling, and there's wars everywhere, and we're being bombarded with bad news on an industrial level, and the media are all fuckers the way they do and everything towards us. And I think that's probably helped. It's probably helped a lot because I don't watch TV now. I'll target watch TV. I'll think I want to watch that thing, so I'll go and watch that thing, but I won't sit there and idly watch TV. Never do it. I never just sit down and think, oh, what's on? Don't do it. So therefore, I'm not exposed to things like adverts and news channels all the time. I look for the information that I want. So maybe that helps. I don't know. Maybe by being a really, really busy person, and that guides you away from that. Who knows? Maybe it's just character types and personality types and things. But I do feel bad about people with mental health problems and stuff. But it is a little bit of a minefield, isn't it? And I don't quite know how to deal with it when I've paid and there's an expectation and people don't deliver, and then they start using that as an excuse. I'm struggling with that, and I don't know what to do or what to say and how you cope with it, really. So if you've got any tips, if you're a non-HR person, if you are a HR person, don't. Because you're going to write like this much, and it's just going to be fucking buzzword hell. Write an action plan, write your thoughts, maybe make an agreement. Oh, fuck that, no. But they're probably right and I'm probably wrong, and that's why I'm in this mess. But I remember in the police, HR was just, that was terrible. Anyway, it's Sunday. I'm going to go and finish this beer. God, I've been talking for 33 minutes already. It's nuts, isn't it? I'm going to go and finish this beer, and I've got a bag of... We didn't do the crisps on Friday because we were so busy. So Sunday night now is our Friday night, and the carpenters are back in tomorrow. So I'm going to go and sit down with Deli and have some Thai sweet chili crisps. And Deli's been very sweet at the moment because she had her season about a month-ish ago, and Krusty, my boy dog, he's an older chap, he doesn't have his testicles, but he still tries and he still mounts her, and so she has a phantom pregnancy, and she's done it once before, and she's doing it again now. She thinks she's pregnant, and she is so cute. She gets all these little toys, and she gathers them all up and puts them on a bed, and then she kind of nurses them. And hang on a minute. I've mentioned this before, and I got loads of doggy people going, that's really sad for dogs, don't do it. I've had dogs my whole life. I've bred German Shepherds. I'm dog mad. I'm animal crazy. I'm never going to put my dogs in distress. I'm never going to cause them any difficulty whatsoever. It's a minor thing, and it's managed really well. This is the fucking hell. This is what it does. This is what fear does to you. Don't mention mental health. Don't mention trans or LGBTQ. Don't mention anything to do with anything that might inflame anybody. And for fuck's sake, don't mention dogs. Because you will invoke the wrath of many. But yeah, so she gets she gets a little phantom pregnancy, and it's very cute. It is very, very cute, and it lasts for about a week, and then she just gives up. But during that week, she has all these little toys everywhere, and she buries them in little beds and things, and then she'll come back and take them into another room, and it's all very cute. But yes, I will manage it. Don't nag me. I will manage it and not ever put her in distress. Anyway, I'm going to go and have a beer, and then it's Monday tomorrow. More work to do. But I hope you've had a lovely weekend and a lovely week. Yes, much love.